Okay, let's take a look at adding routing to our application now. This is the same application that we used in the services module, and the only difference is that we have removed some of the sample pages that we were using that module to demonstrate some of the services. And those pages weren't critical to the application, so we've removed those. And then we've also cleaned up our app.js a little bit and got rid of the modules that we aren't using anymore, like ng-cookies and ng-sanitize. Other than that, this application is the same. So the first thing that we need to do here for adding routing is we need to add a single page that is going to be the page for our application, and that is going to be called index.html. And let's copy the HTML out of the new event page into here. And by the way, index.html is the document that is returned by default in both the Express and IIS web servers that we're using. Okay, so we pasted in that HTML from the new event page, and we're going to get rid of a lot of this HTML. So essentially all we have here now is this navigation bar that will show across the top of the page. And we're going to add a ngView element to our page. This ngView element is where all of the templates will be displayed inside our application as we load different templates in our site. Notice that we also have all our JavaScript references and CSS references in our index.html page. Okay, so let's create a new place for our templates. We'll create a templates directory. These templates will essentially be the HTML that will become our views in our application. Notice I called this folder templates, not views, and that's because a view is really the final product that a user sees when a template is combined with a model, and the templates are just the HTML. So we're going to move our new event HTML page into the templates folder. And let's come in here, and there's a bunch of HTML in here that we don't need anymore. So we're going to delete all of this HTML and this HTML here at the bottom. Okay, so notice now that our view does not have all that surrounding HTML. We no longer have the pain of having to put all of our JavaScript includes and everything on the individual pages. So the last thing that we need to do to this template is we do not specify inside our templates the controller that is associated with that template. We do that when we set up the route, so I'm going to remove that here. Now let's go ahead and set up that route. So we need to come over to our app.js. And when you create your modules, you can add a config block to the modules. And that config block is run when the application is first bootstrapped by Angular. And this is the function that's called when the application is being bootstrapped and this module is being configured. So we're going to need a route provider. So we'll inject that in. And then notice that the config block returns a module so that you can keep chaining methods on the module, such as calling a factory. Factory also returns a module, so you could call factory again after calling this factory. We're actually not going to need this my cache service anymore. That was left over from the services module. So we're going to go ahead and configure our route here using the route provider. You do that by calling when on the route provider. Essentially, you're saying when the route is new event, then use this information to create the view. And there are a few properties that you can provide here. The first one we're going to provide is the template URL. And we're going to say that the template for the new event route is templates new event HTML. And then we're going to also specify the controller for this route. Okay, so here we've successfully configured a route for the new event route and have indicated that the template that should be used is templates new event HTML and the controller is edit event controller. Now, there's just one more thing that we need to do here. As of Angular version 1.2, the routing capabilities are in a different module, so we need to reference that module here. And we'll need to reference that JavaScript file from the HTML page also. Okay, so now let's go back over to our index page. And notice that our menu bar had a create event link on it, and it was previously pointing to the new event HTML. Now we want to point it to our route that we just created, so our new event route, and we need to provide this hash sign. So the reason why we have to create that hash sign is that Angular is going to take advantage of the fact that browsers allow you to put hashes at the end of the URL and specify additional information after the hash that essentially is for linking within that page. Don't worry too much about the fact that that means you're going to have hashes in your URLs, because we're actually going to show you how you can change that for HTML5 compliant browsers so that that hash does not show in your URL. So anyhow, for now, we're going to link using that hash. So we now need to reference that Angular route module. Okay, now let's go take a look at the web page. Here's our application that we've been familiar with. We're going to go ahead and refresh this by hitting the root of the site. And just to show what actually happened there when I hit that page, let's take a look at Fiddler. Let's go ahead and clear this out and refresh our page. And you can see that we requested the root of the site, and if we look at the response that was returned, it is our index.html page. Notice here's our ngView tag. So that's what got served, was the index.html page, and we don't have any view specified, and so all we got was our blank index.html page. And if I click on create event now, then it loads the new event page. But if we switch back to Fiddler, notice that this URL, the root of the website / new event, was never requested. What was requested was templates / new event.html. So what happened was, when we clicked on that link, Angular intercepted that link and noticed that it had a route for it, so it went and requested the templates new event HTML and pulled that template in, and it then used that template in order to create this view with the corresponding edit event controller. But I'd like to show you one more thing with Fiddler, and that is if we look at Fiddler, here we see that where we loaded that template, and if we go back and then click on that link again and then go back to Fiddler, notice that no request was made to the server this time, and that's because when Angular loads a template, it actually stores it in its template cache. There is an internal template cache service that it's using to store those templates, and so as you navigate back and forth to pages, if you navigate to a page that you've been to already, it doesn't take the hit to go and request that template again from the server. And one last thing that I'd like to show, let's go ahead and clear Fiddler again. Let's just go to, we'll copy this URL, and then we'll just go to Google. And then let's navigate back to our site. And we're going to navigate not to the root page, but to this fully qualified URL pointing to our new event route. And you can see that it did load the new event page. So what exactly happened here? If we look at Fiddler, you can see that we requested the root page here, and so it loaded the index.html, which you can see here. So here's our ngView again. So it loaded our index.html, and then you can see that it immediately requested the template for the new event page, and it had to request it again this time because we reloaded the entire app by navigating back to the site again. And so it loaded that template immediately after loading index.html, and so when Angular was bootstrapped, it noticed that there was something on the URL that it had a route for, and it went ahead and routed to that page. So that's the basics of adding a route, and our application is kind of broken now because the only route that we've set up is the new event page. But in the next few clips, we'll get to fixing those routes.